right, so this should allow me to go live. All right. Let's mute this, copy this to, all right. And this is a pre-show talk-in, folks, for all you people who are, I will basically link the beginning of the show with the speed link, and just make sure that you have all of that information. I'm going to put this up on Twitter. Today's Moohead Radio Show. All right, that would be like this. All right, now I should be able, there's Stephen Rose. I don't want that. Delete that. Now I gotta find out how to get the link once again that I sent you. Invite, copy URL, good. All right, that's in the clipboard. So now, rather than having here, exit full screen, so I can put it in here. Join the show. There we go. That link is done. Beautiful. All right. This is good. This is good, good, good. All right, so everybody, so that if you're tuning into the program early for any reason, or if you're watching the archive, you're going to say, why is this part of the show now? There's going to be a lead into the program now, because we are changing the way we deliver the program, and YouTube has necessitated this by dicking around with Hangouts. And that's not something that, you know, I don't think you should be telling millions of people you're getting rid of a product without a solution. So I am finding a solution on my own, which is kind of a, I think, a smart thing to do. All right, so there I'm going to go full screen and just kind of sit here and wait, because what we're doing, if you come over to the YouTube link, which is I've just put up on Twitter, you'll see a link, and that link will get you right into this interface to make you a co-panelist of the program. You can see Rox is to my left or right, depending on what your orientation is, whether you're gay, straight, no, but no, your orientation as far as your screen. For God's sakes. And you can tell that Rox is trying to impress everybody by wearing lip gloss. That's an important part of. So Rox will also be in charge of looking at the chat room in YouTube. So if you have any questions to the program, she'll be the interface to me, because I got to keep my eye on this view, which is the room that everybody's meeting in. And hopefully we'll have a few co-hosts on the program. But the real reason I'm doing this, so that everyone understands, and the actual show will be beginning at approximately, what time does it say it is? Well, that is wrong. I didn't update the time on that laptop. The actual time is 5:56, another 4 minutes before the show begins. The real reason I'm doing this is for Brown season and for allowing more and more fans to get on the air, and we're going to really push participation. There are going to be co-hosts here who are going to help with some things. There is the ability to call in on a phone line, as well as joining via camera and a microphone. So if you don't have a webcam, you don't have a microphone, we'll be providing phone numbers for people. I don't know where exactly they're located. All right, I got to add a group of people here. Promote to panelist, and that's Bork. And Mr. Frisbee, promote to panelist, and Mr. Rick May, and here comes Mr. Bill's dog. All right, so. And there's Derek, and hi, Derek, and there is Rick. Now I can unmute all of you guys, which is my pleasure to do. So there, everybody should go ahead and talk to me and see. First, we'll start with Derek. Talk to me.
Hello.
Oh, that's very well done. All right, Rick.
It was like he was reading off the teleprompter. Even
off. Bronk.
The Derek could be president from reading off the teleprompter there. Hello.
And Rox, are you hearing everybody okay?
I hear everyone just fine. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Roxanne.
Hey.
Yeah, you're going to have to be a little bit more patient, Derek. I know your tendency is to kind of,
Oh, no.
No, we're not going to go there. I'm using professional software right now, and we wouldn't want to do that now, would we? But this will be able to alert me if there's anyone additional wanting to get in. Now, I can't find, because I have to choose, Bronk, what I deliver, and I'm delivering telephone and computer audio. I have no access to the doggone phone numbers, and I don't know why that is.
Okay, I think I know where they are.
What you can do is, if you could post them on the YouTube chat and say, join by phone, it might be interesting if somebody, or even on Twitter, if somebody just decided to call that number, how it would work, because this is all kind of fly by the seat of our pants.
I'll try to remember where I found them the last time. Okay. Just give me, just carry on. It'll take me a few minutes.
I don't know where you found it either.
Well, I have a general idea.
It's coming through my Yeti mic. I count to 10, Derek.
1, 2, 3.
Tap the mic. Tap the mic with your finger. Yeah.
It is?
That's coming through your Yeti. Correct. All right. That's easy. That's a broadcaster's trick. See?
There you go.
Check one. Check.
But that wasn't my finger. Okay. Gotcha. All right.
Oh.
But that's cool. So like Derek's chat came right up to me. Good thinking, Derek. You see how this is all integrated. Anytime any of the co-panelists want to talk to me for any reason, you can get my attention by, just typing something into the chat. I can pull up the chat. I think, how do I activate the chat?
Using this, my camera actually works. So
Yeah.
Is it gold?
What do you know? Hey, Bronk, how do you activate chat? Do I just...
I'm still having trouble finding the other thing.
Yeah, I know. It is. It's a boatload of stuff.
Well, I think I just saw DF Sports saying, can you tell if it's coming through my Yeti mic?
Yeah, for me, it's right at the bottom of the screen. I just clicked on chat and it shows what Derek typed.
If there's a new message, somebody type a message now.
But I see, if I were to change this to a speaker view, then maybe the chat would present. No, it does the same thing. All right, I'm going to go back to gallery view. All right. So I think we're going to have to actually begin the program, right?
Yeah, I see it's 6:01.
All right, very good. Anybody in the YouTube watching at this point, so I can at least know that we should be beginning?
Jake Miller is in there. So is Ron Shane.
Okay. I found the phone numbers, and I will copy and paste.
Very good. Excellent. All right, everybody, we're going to begin this thing in 3 and 2 and 1. Hello, everybody. I know this is confusing as hell. Welcome to Moohead Radio, as you're going to be seeing it in the future. before I get going, a special thanks to Annabelle Guevara and the people over at Zoom who have allowed me all weekend and for even a couple days after to play with this, to get an idea of how we can integrate this into our Moohead Radio podcast. And as you can see in front of you, there are two views that you can see. I'm putting up what's called a gallery view so that you can see all of the panelists here. Now, everyone who's here got a link, all right? And I put the link right up on Twitter, actually. I also have put the link over into YouTube chat. If you click on that link, it will download Zoom software that will allow you to become a participant on this program. On the other hand, if you don't, want to be on it as far as your camera and your microphone and your, all that good stuff, you can phone in as well. Bronk has placed the phone numbers.
I will do.
What?
I will do. Give me half a minute. It's the wrong process. I had to take a photograph of my screen.
Strategically placing the mines where.
Yeah. So that you'll have the opportunity also to be able to call in just on a cell phone. No video, just audio, just like you're calling into a sports talk program. That's the way it works. So it's kind of a cool thing. And I'm, thrilled that we're able to do this. Now, the other challenge for me is going to be how I'm going to superimpose the screen that I do my show prep. So what I'm doing is I'm going to minimize my, and I see the people who are, that's right, Ron-Shane, the Brady Bunch. That's absolutely correct. And this way I keep my eye on everybody in this thing, and I can start doing all of the stuff that I show prepped prior to. So we're going to jump right in, and any comments that you have, just feel free. And
guess who popped into the chat room?
Cindy Sanders.
Yes, hello, Cindy.
Here's the story of a man named. It was so obvious. Yeah. At any rate. So. Yeah, the new look is interesting. If it works, we're going to find it out. And I'm getting an idea of exactly looking at both what we're doing and the YouTube, what the delay is. There's probably somewhere, I would say about a 10-second delay between what we're saying live and what is broadcasting on YouTube. Remember that when you're in the chat room. Hi, Cindy. It's good to see you here. In the NBA, the Blazers and the Hawks have really traded two inconsequential players, Evan Turner and Kent Bazemore. Kent Bazemore, most famous for having a very bad temper and getting hot every so often and then laying bricks the rest of the game. Evan Turner, your favorite Buckeye, who really never amounted to a whole hell of a lot in the NBA because he never ended up with a reliable shot. Bazemore's 29 years old, right? And he's the third oldest member of the Hawks, who are trying to get younger and therefore worse. Bazemore only started 35 of 67 games. He's traditionally been the first man off the bench with that organization. He averaged 11.6 points and 3.9 rebounds and only shot 32% from three-point range, which is basically a deal breaker for most people. But Turner even exceeded that, averaging only 6.8 points and 4.5 rebounds. His 21.2% shooting from behind the arc. Actually, he lost a game of horse to Stevie Wonder.
Sorry, I just a private message to Derek by mistake. I meant to send it to the whole group. I will do that.
Yeah, and thank you so very much for that. Anything that you want to say, guys? Bazemore or Evan Turner? Who do you like more? Who do you like less?
Evan Turner was very overrated when he was at university, so I really don't care.
Same.
I hope both will be very happy.
Yeah, kind of inconsequential players. What can I tell you? But it is news, and we report news sometimes too. Talking about flash in the pan, Aaron Savali, the guy from AAA, got sent back to AAA so the Indians could recall John Edwards. But
didn't he like his wife died of cancer and he like was shagging somebody else? Or is that some other John Edwards?
No, that was another Edwards. That was the North Carolina Edwards.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. And his hair was always perfect. That was the thing.
He was an excitable boy.
Yeah, obviously.
Warren Zevon, you had.
Yeah, there you go. But Savali's major league debut was just unbelievable. 2 hits in 6 innings. But he's going back to AAA so he can continue pitching on a regular basis. It's only a matter of time until
pitching against the Tigers, that's like pitching in AAA anyway. So what's the difference?
I mean, believe me, Savali's minor league record didn't indicate he was going to pitch a two hit shutout for 6 innings. But yeah, you got to consider who he's throwing the ball against. Meanwhile, Edwards is 31 and should have been buried a long time ago. Next, some things I don't understand. And maybe someone's going to. I mean, I certainly understand that Kawhi Leonard has declined the Raptors player option. I get that completely. And of course, the reason why they say that Toronto is still the front runner here, but it's going to have to be a heck of a lot more money than the 21.3 and the option. He's going to market. He's going to get a lot of opportunities to make more money. Here's what I want to know, because I'm really confused. One of the teams that is most interested and seems to have a Kawhi Leonard fetish would be the Los Angeles Clippers. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with Derek. And Derek, why? Explain to me, basically, like I'm a 6-year-old. Why would Kawhi Leonard want to go to the Clippers?
Well, from my understanding, a lot of that was, if I'm not mistaken, his uncle was in a partnership with him. I don't know if it was his agent or whatever. But as far as the closest thing you can get to the Raptors, he wants to be in LA. He said that. We've known that for a long time. A lot of people thought he was going to go to the Lakers. It's not looking like that right now. Second best option and somewhat close to the Raptors, the Clippers. So there you go. That's about the best you can get as far as comparing.
Yep. Now we welcome, as you can see, people will come and they will go as they deem.
Jeez, Brian, you naked? Good Lord.
I know. Brian flashed his video and he was doing a striptease for everybody.
Lord.
Yeah. This is the new concept for the Zoom webinar is naked webinaring. So this
I
could
can't do that. Jeez.
Real fetish, yeah. And Jake, how you doing, buddy?
Am I right?
Good.
Can't complain.
All right, so we'll move right over to you. Why would Kawhi Leonard possibly want to go to the LA Clippers?
Well, it's home, right? So that's a big factor. And I think he feels like they have a good core and that he won with a pretty solid cast without any other all-stars, and he could do something there.
I mean, Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz wanted to go home because there is no place like home. But you know something? There's got to be lots of places for Kawhi Leonard. And if he likes it there so much, he can always build a house there and live there during the off season. What professional reasons would he agree to playing for the ugly redheaded stepchild organization in Los Angeles with lesser talent coming off of a world championship? His leverage will never be better than it is now. I'll go to Rick. Why? Why would he do it?
Things that I hear is that, he went to San Diego State, so it is his home. He has a house, I guess, in San Diego. They asked him about Toronto when he first signed up and went there, and the first thing I guess he said was, "It's cold." So maybe he's not a cold weather. He's not maybe a cold weather fan, but to me,
yeah. Well, it is cold compared to fucking San Antonio. By the way, because I'm not wearing a shirt because it's 91 fucking degrees in my house. Little chicken fucker.
Okay.
Don't make me reach through this screen, reach down through your fucking mouth, grab you by the asshole, and rip you inside out.
He's right.
Yeah, I think you owe all of us an apology.
You ganky motherfucker.
91. Where is it? 91. Oh, in Arizona.
I live in Phoenix, dude.
Yeah, that's right. And
my electric bill on the budget pay is $244 a month. I'm not going up to over 300. Thank you.
Well, if you want to flash your video, I'll do the music.
Believe me, if I had a pool, I would be out in the pool doing this fucking show.
Yeah, you know, I have a grill. I have a grill behind me here. So if anybody wants to party, actually trying to get this whole thing set up has been a riot because you can see that the backyard area is overexposed because I don't have professional lighting in this room, and
yeah, you and Roxanne are sharing now. I see.
Yeah, you see that, and that's the beauty of it. She's got a workstation that used to be my workstation, and now I've been cast asunder. It's just not fair. Bronk, why would he want to go to the Clippers? Help me here.
I think he's going to re-sign with Toronto because Toronto's a nicer city than LA, and he's won a championship. So I really don't think he's going to go to the Clippers.
I mean, but here's the thing I don't know about the Raptors. The Raptors won because of a real curious combination of circumstances.
It was fluky. It's like the Florida Marlins beating the Indians all those years ago. It'll probably never happen again.
You're right. And so it's kind of a one-off. And you wonder to yourself, is this guy going to come back and do a long-term deal? And he's going to wind up in clearly a worse situation than he was in San Antonio, because he's not going to have the group surrounding him, the supporting cast. If he's going to step out into the limelight, it's hard in a mid-sized market. He's getting all of his props, and deservedly so. But, once that goes away next year and, whatever teams end up making improvements, if he sticks around, he's not going to be the happiest guy in the world. La, 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 la. Yeah. Boy, this is just really sad.
That was still the funniest post-game show, by the way.
What was?
When you pretended to be Stevie Wonder after one of Deshaun Kaiser's infamous performances.
Yeah.
That could have been every week.
I just changed Bronk's name. So look, there are things that I can do on the sly without people realizing it. Like I'll
change it back. I'll change it back before the next webinar meeting.
All right, and like for instance, what I'm going to do now is change somebody's name. Please excuse my fat fingers. All right. And there we go. And all right. Jake is now Mr. Absence.
Not to be confused with Mr. Abscess.
Yeah, that
would be Fish
name.
Basket.
No. So, again, this is a one-time step off for Kawhi Leonard, and I'm really kind of confused. He's got to go for the gusto now. And if he doesn't, he's never going to have a chance to win a championship again. Maybe that's not that important to him. Maybe one is enough for him. I don't know.
One is the loneliest number.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Here's another thing. We talk about the Cleveland Indians. We talk about former Cleveland Indians, But how about Mickey Callaway? Boy, he imploded.
Did he? I don't know anything about this. You'll have to tell me the story.
Yeah. I mean, well, the Mets are not very good. But, of course, Mickey had to know that when he took the job. Well, he and his pitcher, Jason Vargas, have been fined by the team for a confrontation with a reporter in the clubhouse on Sunday. The general manager said that the whole thing was disappointing and regrettable. Callaway offered no apology, but just called the incident a misunderstanding. But it was more than that. Realistically, things have not gone the way, they never do with the Mets. The Mets are like, they're like the Clippers, okay? they're historically the second team in a big city. And that's really hard to get out of the shadow of the guys in pinstripes when you're in New York. But here's basically what happened. The press started pressing Callaway because he did not put his closer in the game when they were struggling. Basically, he stuck with a guy named Seth Lugo during the 8th inning. Instead of getting the long close from his closer, Edwin Diaz, Lugo proceeds to give up the go-ahead 3-run home run to Javier Baez. And the next thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. So Callaway walked past Healy, the press guy, and other reporters in the clubhouse. Healy told Callaway he would see you tomorrow. And Callaway responded by calling Healy a motherfucker. Kind of sounds like, well, somebody in Arizona I know. Callaway walked away, then returned, continuing to curse at Healy and telling him to leave the clubhouse. Meanwhile, maybe the baiting reporter guy, he was a master baiter. I mean, this is what the press does.
Stop.
Okay. That would be Terry Pluto, too. I thought he was leaving for the... So I said, see you tomorrow, Mickey. And then he said, don't be a smartass. And he goes, I tried to tell him I didn't mean anything by it. I was just saying I'll see you tomorrow. And then he said, get this guy out of here. And that got the attention of Jason Vargas, the pitcher, who then started screaming at Haley, I'll knock you the fuck out, bro. This is great. You know, the season is just not going anywhere. You know, it's funny how things work out. And, you know, Leonys Martin has to be thrilled that he's still alive. However, Leonys Martin is no longer a Cleveland Indian. It goes something like this.
I don't even know about this. What happened now?
Leonys Martin is gone because two things happened. One, he just didn't hit. Two, his defense started suffering. Three, he realized he was in Cleveland and had to live down to it. Four, he survived horrible blood disorder that he had, realizing that he can go someplace else. But mainly because he and Francisco Lindor got into a shouting match in the dugout after Leonys Martin missed his cutoff man, allowing a runner to move up a base. And I think everybody kind of got sick and tired of Leonys Martin. And as much as a feel-good story as he was, that guy has been to about as many teams now as Josh McCown. So, honestly, Leonys Martin, Bobby Bradley, Bronk, was brought up.
Bobby Bradley. So where is Leonys Martin? Did they just cut him, or did they trade him? What did they do with him?
Designate him for assignment?
DFA'd him. They just flat out DFA'd him, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, again, Indians and former Indians, and Leonys Martin will leave a little bit of himself all over the map because he's one of those, you know, quadruple A players. He's seemingly good enough to get to a major league roster, but not to stay there. He just...
All I gotta say is he's lucky to get out of Cleveland alive. Literally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, that it was a fortunate turn for him, and we're all happy that he's healthy, but he was non-productive. Bradley, in his first game, hit a double to the opposite field that I think was as much misplayed as anything else. But then what hasn't been in the recent series that the Indians have played, I mean, the Tigers, I mean, Ron Gardenhire should commit suicide. I've come to the conclusion that there is no reason to continue on, you know? What the hell?
Bark hard.
Yeah. Oh, I see another person's trying to join, Mr. Hammer. I'm going to let you in, and here comes Jim. And at least you'll have a shirt on, for God's sakes. Okay. And
I'm probably not sitting in a 91-degree house.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you were sitting in a 91-degree house, Jim, what would happen to you in a 91-degree house?
It would be it'd probably be like a big fat smear on the ground somewhere. I am sitting outside. I don't know if you can see this, enjoying this beautiful rain.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, can you hear it?
It's very pretty.
Hey, you guys haven't had any rain all year, have you?
It's been almost, what, 24 hours?
None whatsoever.
Now, Jim, are you in Columbus proper, or are you in a suburb?
Yes, I am. I am just south of downtown, just south of German Village.
Gesundheit.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm sorry.
Jews don't visit German Village. When they started,
They don't come out.
No, yeah, I mean,
Usually one way.
It's one way.
and not only that, there's a train with a whole load of them that get brought there, and then when they started building the ovens in German Village, it was too much for
Well, it's well.
You got to stay away from Furnace Street.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty
I'm in
bad
Westerville.
when they name the streets. When they name the streets like Bergen-Belsen and Dachau, I mean, it's just really wrong on so many levels.
Stay away from public showers too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. The expression now
New
that's
format, same show.
Yeah, same show. Yeah, new format though. And look, here's something that I wanted to point out to the viewers who are looking at this for the first time. We can have 100 people in here at one time. Now, I know that appeals to Derek because that's his scene. Okay, the human pile. But as far as I'm concerned, can you imagine if the Cleveland Browns win their first 3 games this year? How many people are going to want to be involved in the post-game show? And I want to remind everybody, did you ever put those phone numbers into the
YouTube? You should see them. If they're not, let me know.
Yeah. Are they there, Rox?
And you know what? About those phone numbers, those are USA phone numbers, but you can actually use phone numbers for about 40 or 50 different countries. So if you're out there in Turkey right now, say you're David Blatt and you want to join the Moohead Radio Show, I can give you a phone number, a local phone number in Turkey for you to ring up and tell us all about your time coaching the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Turkey, Botswana, it's all the same, man.
Yeah, no, I'm just sitting there thinking of David Blatt. Poor David Blatt. It's like, how did I end up in Istanbul? It's just really.
Well, at least you didn't go to German Village. So
Rox, are you able to talk?
Yes, I am. I was locked up for a minute, but I'm able to talk.
Okay, and did you see these phone numbers in the YouTube?
No, they are not there.
Ah, okay. But we want to put them there, and it's important because not everybody wants to show their face, all right, on the program, but there's no reason why you can't dial into this program now, just like you would a sports talk program. It's really kind of a cool notion. I'm going to have to...
They are there.
What are we going to call this hotline?
No, it's the move phone.
So is
It's the
Bronk
return
gonna,
of the move phone. Yeah.
So is Bronk going to suggest trading like some ridiculous trade for like Aaron Judge and and Giancarlo Stanton? And
Yeah.
I was like, can we trade Tyler Naquin for Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton?
And we'll throw in Jack Broheimer at second base.
And Jason Kipnis for nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I wish I knew where these phone numbers were located on my end. I have yet to see how it works, but I have to have computer and telephone audio activated here so I can hear everybody. So
I could tell you, do you see where you've got at the bottom of your screen for Zoom, you've got 2 icons. You got a mute icon that shows your mic, and you got a stop video icon.
Yep.
Shows your camera. Click on the arrow above, near to the right of mute audio. You'll see various choices there.
Yep, but I can't get the one that you have.
All right, so everybody else, if you see the one,
oh, you know what it says?
Phone audio.
No, it gives me an option to switch to phone audio.
Yeah, go in there.
All right, switch to phone audio. Oh, okay. So here we go. Thank you, Bronk. I appreciate it so much.
Click on that little American flag, and then you can see all of the other countries that can dial in, like Hungary, Georgia, France, Denmark.
By the way, I got an email from Zoom today that says that they have tutorials, online live interactive tutorials, multi-times a day. And I was invited to go listen in.
Wow.
So.
Wow. So people know on the East Coast of the United States, why not? 646-876-9923. Take it down. And you know, or some, you know, Rocks, if you want to put it into the chat room, just as I read them off, I'd love to have somebody call on the phone just to see exactly how it works. It would be cool.
Yes, please,
There's England
Frank, call
numbers
us.
here. You know, I can call in from a London number.
Yeah. All right. And you can also reach us at 669-900-6833, or your West Coast number, which would be 408-638-0968. And, you know, what's really kind of cool is it's going to ask you for a meeting ID number, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
You got it.
So the meeting ID number, and Rocks, if you want to put this in as well, is 518-137-087. That is the meeting ID, and your participant ID is the number 46. I know it's complicated. It isn't quite as easy as just picking up your phone. But hey, if you want to go incognito, or as
Incognito.
that's correct. You can literally jump on the phone, and thank you for that, Bronk. I appreciate it very much.
So
Yeah, I
then-
just watched.
Welcome, Frank calls.
I just watched Black Klansman like last weekend, so
Oh, really?
finally got around to it. Yeah, so which was pretty awesome. With the background story is that the black cop was masquerading as a white supremacist. So, and it's based on a true story too.
Wow.
He joined the Klan.
If you didn't see,
And nothing will ever be Cleveland Litter going, for my next impression, Jesse Owens.
There you go. Blazing Saddles.
now, Kyrie Irving is just continuing to irritate Boston fans because he is in Japan right now. He is incognito, actually,
Big in Japan.
in Japan. And I will have Tommy Heinsohn, your favorite legendary Celtic, tell you the rest of the story. So Kyrie Irving posted a photo of himself on vacation in Japan with the caption, "Ego has no room between you and me. We are one. I am." What the fuck does this mean?
We are the world. We are the children.
The late John
We are the
Havlicek
ones who join.
would never have been on Instagram in the first place, and he would never have been in Japan. Let's be honest about this. Why would the guy go to Japan? The guy's raw like sushi. You know, to me, it's people.
Ironically, since he is a flat earther, wouldn't he have fallen off the face of the earth,
Long time ago, and I think he probably has. You know,
crossing the international date line?
he's a strange guy, and you know, honestly, guy's not going to win another championship unless he goes back with, you know, a bunch of superstar players. He can't lead anybody to anything. I mean, he's lucky to have found his way to Japan, and the people in Japan are going to throw him out. You know, they're just I don't know.
So Pat Severson from the chat room wants to know if Kyrie really did call into that Boston sports talk station.
You know, I think that there are going to be stories floating, and I've told you this the day that I saw that Kyrie was, you know, dealt to the Celtics, that it was the worst destination for him. It is the most racist city in America, and black athletes have a history, including Bill Russell, who won more championships than you can count, and Mo Vaughn, and so many African-American athletes have had problems with the fans in Boston, that if Kyrie didn't immediately elevate that team, then there was going to be a problem. And I think what you're getting is the reaction of people spreading something. No, Kyrie would be far too smart to call into a sports talk show. That's why Kyrie's got an agent that he keeps firing over and over again. Okay, let's make it clear. Kyrie Irving is a guy who alienates people because he's moody and he lacks a certain component. He has to be dragged along. And the truth of the matter is, is the Celtics became a worse team when he joined them, which is, again, when you change the balance of Brad Stevens' ball sharing offensive concept and you put a ball intensive guy like Kyrie on the floor, there are going to be a lot of people who don't get their touches. Not only that, but when you spend all that money on Gordon, the cripple Hayward, and you force him into the lineup, and that's coach's prerogative, and he's going to get X amount of time on the floor. Then guys like Rozier are going to get less time on the floor. They're going to become further and more distant from what's going on with the team. And the chemistry went to hell. So, no, Kyrie didn't call any sports talk radio show in Boston. But there's a lot of people who just want Kyrie Irving out of Boston. And I'd like to tell you that it was because the reason why I applauded when Leonis Martin left Cleveland, because he just isn't very good. Kyrie Irving is a fine basketball player, but he's not a leader of men. And that is, Kyrie just sunk so far below Kawhi Leonard on the player ratings. It ain't funny, That's really what it boils down to. But he's still, bothering the hell out of people. I want to say something. We talk about Baker Mayfield, right? We talk about how the Browns, in the draft and how we got these good players and all. But all I have to say is DeShone Kizer to Green Bay for Demarius Randall. And these are the kind of things that, at face value, I'm not saying that Demarius Randall is a great football player, not at all. He's a guy who was originally looked upon as a safety by the Browns, but he's played almost everything that he's done as a cornerback. And we definitely need a guy who has the ability to cover and has the versatility to give different looks to our defense. And I look at these incremental improvements. You got to have the big step. You got to have the Baker Mayfield. You got to have a good running back. We talk about that. And we've got two of them now with the Browns. You got to have big time wide receivers. And we've got, two of them right now with the Browns. You also have to have a really good offensive line. We have a few good and some two that maybe we'll see. We'll see if Zeitler's replacement will somehow come on for the Browns. But it's easy to look at the big steps, but the small incremental steps are like, what are you going to get out of Mac Wilson? Well, you're going to take third, fourth, and fifth round draft picks. What are you going to get out of what's his name?
Tiki
Tacky. Yeah. What are you going to get out of, Greedy Williams? What are you going to get out of all of these players? And those types of incremental improvements fill out a roster. If one of those guys, if Mac Wilson, just because he's a search and destroy guy, becomes a prolific special teams player, that in and of itself, for a number 5 pick, that pretty well will justify. When you're getting good like the Browns are, you got to shore up the special teams. They've been such a weakness for the organization. But
he's a guy who a lot of people thought if he waited another year could be a potential late first, if not second round pick. So.
Mac Wilson, there was probably more disagreement on Mac Wilson than anyone in the draft, because there were some people who said, oh yeah, this guy is going to be a first or second round pick. And then there are other people who said, no, he's way too one-dimensional. He's just not going to be able to, he doesn't have the lateral pursuit that is necessary. He's a kind of a straight-ahead guy, a unidirectional person as far as the way he plays the game. He's a seek and destroy guy who may not play in space as well, and Takataki is another guy who I'll call him walkie-talkie. Walkie-talkie.
Ticky-tacky.
Are you there? Walkie-talkie. Very good. You got to cup your hands. As you can see, we're all very silly here. So,
Okay, can I make a shout out to Demarius Randall, because he did the signature moment last season of intercepting that pass against the Bengals and handing the ball to Hugh Jackson.
you're right.
He should be in the Cleveland Browns Circle of Fame. Just
And
whatever he does this year is a bonus. God damn it!
I'll tell you what's interesting is this, application that we're using, Zoom, and again, thanks to the folks at Zoom out of Atlanta, Georgia, is that Brian's computer still doesn't work on it. Okay.
Number 7.
It's after a while.
There is something really appealing to me personally about using such professional applications and turning it into this,
I was gonna say, that's what I think of.
Somebody
I
got
like
that
the
show.
Moohead Radio.
The
Professional.
Salvador Dali of broadcast. I can paint a mustache on anything. So,
This is not a broadcast.
yeah, I guess.
Not
Moocast.
Apple.
Oh, poor Rock. She's. I've gone mute. It's this devilish sneezing. It turns out that she's allergic to me. My personality is caustic. You cannot be around me for any length of time. People start sneezing and worse.
Is she at your house right now?
Absolutely. Yes. Visiting.
Weird.
I'm weird.
Yes. You're starting to have panel members at your house now?
What?
Eric has no friends, so he can't imagine any.
I would have any of you folks over to my
Are you
house.
sure about that?
Yeah. I mean, especially
Bring the
Mr.
brisket.
Absence there. Mr. Absence would never be around.
We're set up like the Brady Bunch. You're sitting there in Ann B. Davis's chair. I wouldn't talk to you loud.
You know what I keep thinking? I keep thinking that Rick is Paul Lind.
Hollywood Squares, man.
Oh,
He's the
thank
man-
you much. I'm touched. I really am.
The question is what he touched, and I don't really.
Oh, geez.
Oh, Jesus, right.
We're missing Charlie Weaver in the bottom left-hand corner, though.
Or Wally Cox.
Wally Cox and
Okay, look, that's not.
I can beat Paul in if you want.
He does that a little too well. That's a little bit.
I was going to
scary.
say, your poor neighbors are looking over at you going, what the hell is wrong with
I'm
that
on the
guy?"
porch. There's nobody out here. They were all out here earlier looking at the rain, and it's like, oh, it's still raining. Okay. There's no,
Here's
Nobody-
one for equality. Okay, Lindsay Gottlieb. All right, Lindsay Gottlieb is got to be Jewish, doesn't she? The name like Gottlieb. Yeah. I mean, here she is, and she's one of the 6 women now who find themselves women who are, on staffs of NBA teams.
Okay, all right. I know who she is now.
Yeah, and
I don't live in your country, so I don't know half of this shit.
well, no, she was at the University of California. Yeah, and she was, head coach there. They made NCAA tournament 7 times. I mean, she's got some game. She's the 6th female coach currently working in the NBA and the first to come from a women's college program. So, it's, what I would really like to
The
see.
hell was that?
Oh, what do I know? Somebody.
my.
are.
It had been Brian's computer going down the drain.
it-
Been flushed.
Car going down the street, maybe.
No, I don't think that's what it is at all. I think that it's the other thing that I do. I think that's the IBS that I have caused.
Oh, God.
Poor Rocks, by visiting him. It's really a shame. I'm sorry. The sneezing and then the horrible stuff that comes afterwards. I want.
Here's the question.
Yes, go ahead.
Did you, since she's over visiting, did you let her sit in the black chair of death that you fell out of?
It's interesting that you would ask that. I was asking you, I thought you were asking me if she shit on it because of the IBS, but no. No, she's actually sitting on her own chair because, the chairs that I use, my ass is far too large. Okay. I mean, most people, it's just like, I'm like one of the
chair that you
Whiteettes.
fell out of needs to get put in a museum somewhere.
Do you remember the Whiteettes?
The Homer
Saturday
indent.
Night Live?
Yeah. The Homer indent, like on the couch where his cheeks have kind of gone into it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Bronk, I mean, it is like what 11 o'clock at night there. So you wear your sunglasses at night so you can.
Well, it's because it's so bright in here. That's why.
Oh, okay. The
And I'm
future's
still
so
missing
bright.
all of my song cues here.
Yeah. Gotta wear shades.
It's like I'm under interrogation.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, the reason that Rox is in my former studio is so that she can sing karaoke while she's visiting.
It's true.
Oh, we could do all that.
I like that.
Yeah, I'll share the links with everybody when she does something that's truly worthwhile. But I've been waiting now.
Damn.
Your own guess.
One for Moo.
Now, Lindsay Gottlieb's quote was, "This is basketball heaven." But no, that's only when you die, Lindsay. The fact of the matter is, what would be heaven would be a woman coaching an NBA team. I mean, head coaching an NBA team. Until that happens, there have been. You remember the whole thing in the NFL and even Major League Baseball. when Frank Robinson was the first black manager in the major leagues, and it happened in Cleveland, Ohio. And how could it be 1975 that he got the job?
Yeah.
I mean, how can that be in recent American history that was the first guy with as many great African American players, starting, with the Larry Dobies and the Willie Mazes and, and the Jackie Robinsons and all? How is it possible that there was no advancement at all until 1975? And the same thing with the NFL. It was like, why do we remember, who is the first black head coach in the NFL? Could anyone answer that one?
If I had better navigation on this laptop, I could.
Denny Green, or if it was no,
Art Shell.
Art Shell, probably.
Yeah, I mean
Art Shell. I mean,
Yeah.
remember Larry Little coached the Columbus, the Ohio Glory in the World Football League. So
there's something condescending to me about
Bill Russell. You said NBA, right?
No, NFL.
Oh, NFL.
But Bill Russell was the first
player coach.
Yeah, he was a player coach. Yep, that's absolutely right. And
Frederick Douglass, Fritz Pollard.
Okay.
oh wow,
Fritz Pollard.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's one of the originals.
Yeah. So here's what the condescension in all of this. John Beeline saying, after spending a couple of weeks with us, she's a real home run for us. And it's like, oh, please, please. The fact of the matter is, if you're really advancing society, then you give somebody a big, important job. You don't give them a job because you want press, that the organization wants positive press as far as being progressive. You know what I mean? It's like either there's real opportunity or there's this fake opportunity. And I've seen it in the NFL that, it's just like African-American quarterbacks. There's all this talk that, there's no reason why a black quarterback can't be as smart as a white quarterback. Yet I don't see very many African-American quarterbacks playing in the NFL, even though the preponderance of college athletes coming out of schools are African-American at the major programs. Why aren't they playing? And the answer is they're not being prepared to play at the pro level. It has nothing to do with their mental acuity. It's like, You look at the white quarterbacks who every year get drafted and every year fail because they're unable to play because they just haven't been able to adjust to the speed of the league, you know? To single out a specific race that way, but still to sit there and say, but we're really in favor of giving minorities advancement, it kind of makes me sick to my stomach. Which leads me to my next story. FSU, Florida State University, who used to be this glorious collegiate football program, I mean, has gone to hell in a handbasket. You know, Jimbo Fisher was the coach. Doodah.
Flowed right along, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Jimbo just kind of moseyed on because, you know, it's amazing what 1 5-6 season can do to you. And he got out because he saw the writing on the wall. Enter Willie Taggart, who's, you know, Taggart, if you look at his record, has not been great either, you know. But man, you know, Jimbo Fisher engineered a 29-game winning streak, but that was Jameis Winston inspired, right? You know,
crab legs himself.
Yeah, but you know something? Here's the problem, and this should be the ultimate warning to every program who dares to try to challenge, you know, the big programs. You have a window there too. Every coach who's coaching and in the middle of a 29-game winning streak at a school like FSU that sees Jameis Winston going away and then is going to have to move on to something else, you know, those schools lose recruiting power because a guy like Jimbo Fisher would be recruiting players 2-3 years in advance. And when he's no longer a part of the program at FSU, there is an out for every single recruit that he signed because it is just language in all of these deals that basically, you know, if the reason you were drafted is no longer there, you know, and so players will back out. And you see this all the time when players back out of their commitments because something changes in the program. So then Willie Taggart, the 42-year-old guy who came from Western Kentucky down here at the University of Southern Florida in Tampa and Oregon, you know, but the thing is that their first year under Taggart, they were 5-7. The real message in this is that the reason that guys like Nick Saban make the big money that they make, and that, you know, all of the coaches in the dream universities make so much damn money, they can't afford to let somebody get swayed away and taken and stolen. It's just that simple. Because when you lose that coach, you lose recruits. And the person who comes in, see Luke Fickell, okay? You're just not going to build an organization based on Luke Fickell's ability to recruit. Maybe to set up defenses, yes, but not necessarily to recruit. So, you know, every time there's a change in the head coach at a major program, it's potentially disastrous. It's big money. College football is big money. And FSU has gone into the tank. And it ain't going to get better because when you're 5-7 and your string of however many, you know, bowl games is gone, players are just not going to want to go there. It's just really that simple. I want to share a story with the people in the panel. I want your, you know, I want your.
Tell that bird to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Here's the story of a man named Brady. No, this is McDonald's, okay? The biggest freaking fast food company in the world, okay? Now, I don't want to be politically incorrect, all right? So I'm not going to say, but I will basically, okay, I'll do it this way. I will impersonate the CEO of McDonald's at a meeting. Excuse me, wait a second. Maybe we should serve fresh beef mean, let's really be honest
I
about it.
tell.
You have to hire a goddamn CEO to tell you that fresh beef is better than frozen. I know. It's so I want to ask you first, Jim, because you appear to have eaten more than your fair share of McDonald's hamburgers, all right?
Harsh.
I would say I have an expert opinion on this thing.
He's
No,
got a White
seriously,
Castle.
have you eaten one more recently? Seriously.
Actually, you know what? I did go there because they have some kind of like specialty international sandwiches they're doing, and they have this bacon cheeseburger that I wanted to try from Spain. It was pretty good, and they had a chicken sandwich from Canada that was pretty good too. So I did try those.
Well, you know, what's interesting is 30%. Their sales of hamburgers have gone up 30% since they switched from frozen to fresh beef. What are you doing, Bronk?
3D. He's going 3D 30.
Three.
It's like
okay.
it's like
One, two.
That was Jim Hammer and the Dr. Tongue's 3D House of Pancakes.
there you. Thank you, Moo. Only some of us would get that joke. So.
Absolutely.
For those of us that didn't, Derek,
So here you go.
go look up Dr. Tongue on YouTube, not on Pornhub, on YouTube. Okay.
I'll write this down.
Dr. Tongue. It's SCTV, Second City Television.
I'll do Dr. Tongue for you, Jim, because so would you like some water? Okay. Yeah. But I digress. Is there anyone in the chat room who wouldn't have been able to tell McDonald's that they would be able to sell more hamburgers if they use fresh beef instead of frozen?
I'm going to tell you right now, I am actually a taste tester for Wendy's. Wendy's headquarters is here in Dublin, Ohio. And last Wednesday, I got paid $40 to eat a chicken sandwich. It was pretty good.
Sign me up.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I'm right
What a
down the
gig.
road. Come on.
So what are your
I
credentials?
will send you a link. You just have to go on this website. It's L&E Research, and they look for people to go there. You have to be 18 and older.
Damn.
I know. Well, you're getting there. Okay, it's coming.
One
Yes,
more
I
year.
don't think his mother to sign for him, isn't it?
There you go. Because they do ask for your ID, but you go in there and they ask you some questions. They give you this sandwich and they have you
Are you
answer.
fat?
You know,
Yes.
you look at it. You know, you look at the bun and you look at the toppings and you take a couple bites. You answer some questions. You have to eat about half of it. You can eat the whole thing if you want, and then they pay you money. It's pretty cool.
I'm going to
Sign me
ask
up.
for a friend. Yeah, I'm going to ask for a friend. Is there a way to not for Wendy's, but like for Pizza Hut? Because I have a friend who might be really interested in being a pizza taste tester. I got something in mind.
I don't know
Rox, could you
Pizza
help
Hut.
get this out of my eye.
I don't know Pizza Hut, but I know there's a lot of different. I've done mystery shops for a bunch of different fast food places and other places as well as hardware stores and grocery stores, stuff like that. So that's actually part of what my job is with the post office, but I don't do postal ones because that would be unethical. Not that anyone here is ethical, but you know.
Hey, Jim, did you hear about that? I don't know if it's Chinese or Japanese place that had that. Did you hear about that in Columbus? Had the rats.
Like Rat Burger, or
No, they had.
it was like a special Thursday special.
No, they got shut down. I think it's in Polaris. Got shut down because there was baby rats in the food. So
Does anybody go to Polaris anymore? I don't know. I just
Not anymore, no.
no. Yeah. Every time I think of Rat, I think of Demolition Man when Sylvester Stallone and they're underneath the city, and all restaurants are now Taco Bell, and he gets a taco and he's eating it, and Sandra Bullock says, "You know what that is, right?" He says, "What the meat is." He goes, "Ask what the meat is." He says, "Cuando está es carne, es rata." He goes, "Oh." He's eating this burger and he's like, Best rat burger I ever ate. So,
You know, I get to share my famous face. Here we go. Here's the headline. You ready? Chicago Bears Super Bowl hopes lie in breakout season from Mitchell Trubisky. Yeah.
Oh my God, they aren't relying on their kicker.
If your Super Bowl hopes lie solely in a breakout season by Mitchell Trubisky, why don't you just come out and say you're not going to be in the Super Bowl? I mean,
Rely on Jay Cutler.
you remember the last time you saw him. They lost 16-15 thanks to Ricky Parkey, who's been drowned to the lake instead of Hugh Jackson. It's really strange the way things work out.
They helped that too. They had a weird offense where he could run the ball and only throw on one side of the field.
Well, I mean, they won their first 12 games. All right. They went from that. Well, they won 12 games, I should say. They went from worst to first, and then they had that bad loss, their final game of the year. But Mitchell Trubisky.
Not a bitch, Trubisky.
Well, I mean, he made strides to be sure, but if any team looked like a one-hit wonder, you know, it would have been the Bears. The Bears aren't going to win 12 games. I mean, it's just not going to happen. You know, they have an offensive-minded head coach and Matt Nagy, so they have that going for them. You know, they got some decent young players, and they have a really solid defense, but then they still have Mitch Trubisky, and they don't have any big-time receivers, all right?
By the way, just for reference, Adam Shaheen, tight end for the Bears, went to my school.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
Our sympathies.
Yeah. So, you know, the Bears didn't even have a single 1,000-yard receiver. They don't have a go-to guy, you know. But he threw to Tarek Cohen, a running back, 71 catches, okay? And that's part of the problem. Because the rap on Trubisky, if you remember, the question is ability to throw a long ball. This was going back into the draft a couple years ago. And the issue that he held onto the ball too long and that he had to get rid of the ball faster. So he's dumping off 71 times to a running back, which, of course, isn't going to get you an 1,000-yard receiver. So they did manage to spread the ball all over the field, 4 guys who caught at least 50 passes. But, you know, 3 who posted 650 or more yards, you know, they weren't scoring that many touchdowns is what it really boils down to. You know, run blocking, they ranked 28th. You're not going to win that way, but they had a magnificent defensive year, all right? But the Bears were a top 10 pass blocking unit that allowed just 33 sacks. But part of it is because he was dumping the ball off a lot. And they had the fewest offensive holding penalties, only 7 for an entire season. Can anybody think that's going to happen again? Well, it's just, you know, Khalil Mack had a big year. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's always 4 teams every year that made the playoffs and then fail miserably the following year. And the Bears are going to be one of them this year. I can't see them getting on. I mean, the Vikings will probably be better than them, and they're going to struggle, I think.
You know,
Are you doubting the ability of the former quarterback for the Columbus Destroyers, Matt Nagy, to put together an offensive game plan? Wrong?
How can somebody not be sounding sarcastic when, you know, you lose your safety Adrian Amos and slot corner Bryce Callahan to free agency, and you replace Amos with Clinton Dix? How can you not sound sarcastic? Okay? It's unbelievable, but yeah. So you have that. That's I just thought it amazing that if they're relying on Mitch Trubisky to lead them all the way, and this is the problem in the NFL. Really, it's tough. It's tough to get to that final game without a big time quarterback. It's just the way it works. So anybody have anything they want to talk about before we get out of here? Because, I'm having a ball with this, and this really actually
Signing up for
works.
Baker Mayfield.
Well, I'm actually going to be watching the Indians tonight because they are the free game on MLB.com. So if you
Are they really?
go over to MLB.com and click on their TV.
What are they playing? The 27 and 55 Kansas City Royals? Is that who they're playing?
Go. That's it.
They won
They're-
3 in a row.
They're a minus 180 favorite, actually, on the money line.
Yeah, I mean, the Indians, they've been playing some lousy teams, and they're doing pretty well right now. And, Oscar Mercado is hitting the hell out of the ball. I don't know how much longer this can go on. They got to figure out how to pitch the guy. But, he's fast, and he's getting on base. And, it's the Indians are winning despite Jose Ramirez continuing to have a miserable season. And but who would have thought that Roberto Perez would have 13 home runs? So I mean, it's been an unusual year for the Cleveland Indians, and they're getting help from pitchers that who knew? The Jeffrey Rodriguez's, and now Savali, and then who's the other guy who came up and pitched lights
Adam
out?
Plutko is up right now. He's pitching tonight.
Please,
Yeah.
Zach.
Plesac, yeah, what the hell? Yeah,
Out of nowhere.
out of nowhere. And now Plutko is going to be a problem because he throws too many gopher balls. He's somehow related to Josh Tomlin, I think, because there's something.
Still again until Carrasco comes back.
Yeah, well,
Carrasco was serving him up like it was batting practice too.
well, what's the story? Do we even know what the blood disorder that Carlos Carrasco has?
Oh, that's Martin. Martin.
Yeah, maybe Martin's a carrier.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, whenever I hear something like that, without anybody wanting to go into any, I mean, that's a very broad term, like, so a blood disease.
That could be
This has been the
leukemia.
Cleveland.
That could be anemia. That could be, some HIV or something. I mean, there's all kind of stuff.
That's right. And I mean, it could be blood cancer. There's all kinds of things that you don't know what they are, and nobody's talking about it. The weird part of it is, nobody's talking about it, and nobody's talking about any return to playing baseball for him. So who knows? It could be a real a bad situation for that guy. And but he wasn't himself this year at all. Not the same guy. So. And who would have thought that we'd actually be saying that the Indians bullpen improved this year?
Well,
I mean, just remarkable stuff.
By the way, speaking of Indians bullpen, did you see Cody Allen got picked up to a minor league contract by the Twins?
Well, I mean, the Twins need depth, and if they can get him moved around mechanically, they might be able to pick up the miles per hour that he's lost. And the other thing is, it's his command. We saw Cody Allen in non-closed situations have a lot of problems. And we did see when he did have problems coming in, he would lose command and walk hitters. He's walked an inordinate number of hitters and then now given up long balls as well. So, the Minnesota Twins are doing fantastic this year. So maybe they can turn him around. That would be a great thing.
I guess it goes to say when you have a relief pitcher that has extreme longevity is such an amazing thing, because it seems like these guys have maybe a 3-year window, and then after that they've moved on. They've either lost velocity, they lose control, whatever it is, but it's like maybe a 3-year window at best, and then they just start, So I mean, it's kind of amazing to see how anybody that has any longevity, it's pretty incredible. So.
Well, what I can tell you, the Mariano Rivera's are amazing. All right. And they're few and far between. You look at guys who are really relief pitchers from the get-go. They don't stretch their arms out. They come in and they're just ultimate fireballers, right? And they got to come in with their most wicked stuff, and they got to, and they got to do whatever they got to do, and they got to come in on no days rest on occasion in double headers, and they throw their arms out. We see this all the time with relief pitchers, that their careers can be substantially shorter than other players. So it's a position that's fraught with danger, because what they don't understand, they talk about pitch counts for starting pitchers, but they do not talk about how many appearances it's safe for a pitcher to have over the course of a season. And man, the Indians were running these guys out 70 times a year. And you can't help but think that the Vinny Pastanos were overused, that the Cody Allens were overused, because at 29, 30 years of age, these things shouldn't be happening to pitchers, but they are, and it's happening all over baseball. Rivera was great because he had a cutter, and a cutter, okay? He didn't have to rely on these bizarre split finger change-ups and, things that put an inordinate stress on the arm. For relief pitchers to come in, you got to have big heat. You got to be 95 on the gun or better these days. And you've got to have a wipeout pitch besides your fastball. You've got to have either a tight slider or a changeup or something that is just absolutely a wipeout pitch. And that just puts an incredible strain on the arm. So it's what happens. I got to get out of here because it's time. But what? Just as Derek is coming back, we can go. Good.
Don't rush back to your chair, Derek. We're almost done.
So everybody, again, thanks to Annabelle over at Zoom, and let me know in the comments on YouTube how you like the format as far as the visual presentation. There is much more this can do. I'm going to be working on sharing my screen, which I'll be able to run my computer screen and run videos and all kinds of things from the command share here. So if we have things that were highlights of games that need to be shown, we'll have them. And I'm going to have to get slick with it. And that's why it's so kind of nice to have so many panelists, because anyone can take over while I'm kind of doing that kind of stuff. So thanks everybody here for joining me on this edition of Moohead Radio. We'll be back again. We'll probably be back again on Friday. I'm not sure. We got to work out the financial arrangements with the people at Zoom, but I really want to get this thing rolling so we have it perfected by the time that the Brown season commences. Guys and gal, thank you very much for joining, and we'll see you again on Friday. And until next time, as always,
Hasta la vista, Pastor Heads.
Hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. But I can end the live stream on YouTube right from here, which I'll do is say, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads.